thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking time away from your families, and I know a lot of you maybe came right from work here like I did, so thank you for making the effort to be here tonight. Let me introduce real quickly our board members, and it's a privilege to be part of the board and serve with these folks that give a lot of their time all during the year. I'm the chairperson this year. Troy Wyndham is our vice chair. Mary Jane Spivey, secretary. Treasurer is Kathy Clark. And we have also serving on the board Janice Nair, Joe Kynard, Chip Wilson, Lily Hobbs, Cecil Pollock, and his better half, Donna Pollock, Skip Evans, who's not here tonight, Brenda Lausch, Susie O'Neill. I always pick at her. I can't help but do that. Becky Nelson. There's Becky. Yeah, right there. So I want y'all to give these folks a hand. They really work hard every year. And I think you probably know a lot of folks sitting around because you see their name in the paper for helping in a lot of different areas of volunteerism, and it's just a pleasure to work with folks like you, and it's a testament that you even came tonight to be a part of it. So again, thank you for what you do for Keep Dublin Lawrence Beautiful in our community. Now I would like to bring up Janice, and she's going to have the invocation. We'll lead right into the pledge, and when she's done, if you would, we'll go ahead and start with our meal.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I'd like to share a little story with you. When this story was shared with me, it caused me to pause and reflect. The story compares people to trees. As people come into our life, we can view them as being a leaf, a branch, or a root. Leaf people, some people come into your life and they are like leaves on a tree. They are only there for a season. You can't depend on them or count on them because they are weak and only there to give you shade. Like leaves, they are there to make what they need, and soon as it gets cold or a wind blows in your life, they're gone. You can't be angry at them. It's just who they are. Branch people. There are some people who have come into your life and they are like branches on a tree. They are stronger than leaves, but you have to be careful with them. They will stick around through most seasons, but if you go through a storm or two in your life, it's possible that you could lose them. Most times they break away when it's tough. Although they are stronger than leaves, you have to test them out before you run out there and put all your weight on them. In most cases, they can't handle too much weight, but again, you can't be mad with them. That's just who they are. Root people. If you can find some people in your life who are like roots on a tree, then you have found something special. Like the roots of a tree, they are hard to find because they are not trying to be seen. Their only job is to hold you up and help you live a strong and healthy life. If you thrive, they are happy. They stay low key, and don't let the world know who they are or what they are. And if you go through an awful storm, they will hold you up. Their job is to hold you up, come what may, and to nourish you, feed you, and water you. Take a moment to reflect on your life and ask God to bring more root people into your life and help you grow. If your roots have grown deep with wisdom through the storms of life, and challenge yourself to be a root in someone else's life. In a few weeks, we will celebrate America's birthday with fireworks, parades, and barbecues. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. We are a diverse nation made up of a dynamic and strong people. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to ask you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wanted to introduce our guest speaker tonight, who's Jay Studstill of Georgia Power Company. And he told me his theme for tonight is the story about big bets with Georgia Power, so I tried to use the betting theme and the gambling theme on the napkins. But we are blessed in our community that have been dealt a good hand in Dublin and Lawrence County. And there are people in our town that are ante up and make use of that hand and are playing our cards for us and doing a wonderful job. Volunteer leadership and action, that's things that are happening in Dublin and Lawrence County. And that's one reason we wanted to recognize people that take care of the appearance and the quality of life here. So when we grow, we won't just be an urban, wild growth. We'll try to be controlled growth and try to make use of what we have and use it wisely and not abuse it. So now I'm going to introduce Jay Studstill, and he's going to do his own bio. I didn't get him to. He's going to introduce himself.
Oh, thank you. I am Jay Studstill, and I'm a close cousin. See, I grew up over in Eastman of Dodge County. We're close cousins, you know. I did play football for Dodge County, and I got to admit, when I came this way, it was quite a rivalry back then. 1974 through 76, it was something unbelievable. But I went off from Dodge County. I went to the ABAC and then to the University of Georgia, where I got an agricultural engineering degree. I wanted to be a soil and water conservationist, but I was paying my way through school. And there was a recruiter for Georgia Power that asked me if I was interested in a cooperative education program, and I said, how much does it pay? and they said, we'll pay you 1/4 of work, and then you'll have enough money to go back to school. I said, sign me up. I said, you're going to Valdosta, Georgia. And I said, oh my goodness, I'd never been to Valdosta, Georgia. So I had the opportunity to go to Valdosta during the summers and the winters, and then in the fall I could watch football, and I had some fun at the University of Georgia. When I got through, I started working with Georgia Power in the marketing organization. Spent about 8.5 years in Valdosta. From there I went to Atlanta for a couple of years, working with commercial and industrial marketing. Had a window of opportunity to go to Statesboro, Georgia. Spent 14 years in Statesboro as a sales manager. Great community. Great community. My boys were raised there. Almost 11 years ago, I got to come back home here in Dublin, and I'm very proud to be part of this community. So it's been a wonderful blessing. Have a lot of good people that I work with Georgia Power, and one of them is Brian Smith. I tell you, y'all did good by raising that boy. Hey, he's been a wonderful asset for us with the company that we work with. So we're real proud of Brian. And Georgia Power has been a good company for me with the various things that I do. Presently, my job is the area manager, where I am responsible for the operating as well as the business offices. I have a wife named Mitzi from Dodge County, and we have 2 children. Our oldest son, I hate to say this, is almost 33. He's in Seattle, and my youngest one is approaching 30. I have 2 grandchildren. One is Daniel and one is Noah. Now that's pretty special, I'm telling you, because the middle name of Noah is Jay, you know, my namesake. Very special, very special. But that's kind of my little bio, if you will.
If you're suffering from a non-healing wound, we have good news. The Downtown Dublin Wound Center offers advanced treatments, experience, and state-of-the-art technology, including hyperbaric oxygen treatments for healing most any wound, even those that won't respond to conventional treatment. Call us today at 410-3500. Let Dr. Davis and his staff get you on the road to recovery. Downtown Dublin Wound Center, 124D West Madison Street, downtown Dublin.
I had a window of opportunity I must tell you about. Last week, our church went to Israel, and I didn't know what to expect, but I learned something about Israel in a hurry. It's hot, and you need a lot of water. And I learned something else. while we were doing our tours of Jerusalem, and we did other tours of various historic places all over Israel, from the north to the south, they talked about cisterns. So, you know, a cistern to me was like a big clay pot. That's what I thought a cistern really was, until I started looking at the location where Jesus was actually caught and started his journey with the cross. Right up under there is a huge cistern. It is a cavern underground where water is kept. And virtually all of the historic sites where they were fortresses that the Romans that they all had big cisterns. That's just a big old hole in the ground into the bedrock. And springs of water, they would bring water and put them in these cisterns. And something that I really, truly began to appreciate much more than I have here is the absolute value of water. The value of clean water and what that really means to all of us. Because without quality water, our lives are, not any good. And that's part of what you do in your work, is to make sure that we have clean water and a good, healthy environment. But our mission over there for about 8 or 9 days was to just see the Holy Land and understand things. But I truly did get it about water. I will tell you this, under Jerusalem, there are major, if you will, cave caverns where water from the springs come. And years and years and years ago, those waterways were dug out of the stone all the way down to the areas where the water was in the springs, because that was their lifeblood. I'm amazed at the engineering. Being an engineer, I just say, how did they do it? It's a marvel. But what they were doing was sustaining for the next generation, and it was very special. So water has become a very special thing to me. Our company, years ago, I guess about 6 or 7 years ago, our president of the Southern Company, which is a parent of Georgia Power Company, published a book. And the book is called Big Bets. The book's Big Bets. It's a history of the Southern Company and Georgia Power and the utility business. One of the very first phases of the Big Bets is about a fellow named James Mitchell. James Mitchell was also an engineer, but his goal and his task was to start building dams to dam up water for hydroelectric power. And it's not an easy thing to build a dam, so it's not easy to pick the location to do that. But he was instrumental in working with a lot of different people and making a really big bet that he could actually build these dams throughout Alabama, because Alabama is part of our Southern Company with Georgia Power. And they continue to build these hydroelectric dams, and they utilize water to make electricity, which ultimately helped our society. Okay? There's a lot of industry that needed that electricity. So here again, harnessing of that water, that valuable commodity, was very special. Another phase in this book, with the authors, or the president, basically talked about the times that coal power was created. Now, what do you need with coal power? Not just coal to make the heat, but you got to have water. You have to draw water from the rivers, and you make steam, which makes electricity. One of the things that our company is most proud of is the quality of the water that returns back to the rivers. We spend a lot of time monitoring it to make sure, and in most cases, it's better, cleaner even, than it is when it goes in. So those coal plants, and then from there we went to nuclear power. And nuclear power obviously is something that needs water too, because once again, you're taking water to heat up, to make steam, to be able to turn a generator to make electricity. So water is quite valuable, and our company spends a lot of time in making sure that the water is of high quality. And you do too in your work. Because without the things that you do, your river work that you do and other things to keep areas clean, you could actually have some kind of contamination or whatever with the water. When you back off and you think about keeping places clean, and I thought when I was in Jerusalem and I looked at the cisterns, I thought about what would happen if trash or litter and all that were to go down into those caverns. Well, it would actually create a situation where the water wouldn't be as clean as it could be. So your work in keeping our community clean keeps those, if you will, litter from getting into our water streams or to getting into places that's not going to be healthy to us into the future. So I appreciate what you're doing. But you know what? When you other things that you look at and you think about in your life, the roles that you have as a volunteer, sometimes people don't really care to get involved. Sometimes people don't, they just let somebody else do the work. You're not like that. You're the type people that want to see things improve. So you spend time even coming to a meeting right after work to be part of something that can be a benefit to our community. Something that you truly are doing is preparing for the next generation. Because all of us are going to come, and then sooner or later, Noah and Daniel are going to take over for Jay along the way. Our grandchildren will come along. So we want to make sure, you want to make sure that our community is a viable place for those that come after us. And that's something that I applaud you for. I applaud you for what you do. There's something, and there's so many little pieces that all of us can get involved with. One aspect that Brian has been real instrumental in with Georgia Power each year is the Bring One to the Chipper program. I guess, Brian, how many years have you been handling that here? At least 13 years.
The
Wow.
program's been over 20 years, even before Brian. I think.
Wow. That's
and Georgia Power's been providing the chipper that long.
well, it's when I was in Statesboro, I actually did what Brian did. I ran the program, and it was so much fun. It's almost like a social event, isn't it? If you've ever been, they come in with their Christmas trees, and you take. I guess we chip them on site, or do we store them up? Well, that's like I said, it's almost like a social event because people are there talking with each other and enjoying themselves. But you're actually improving the environment by what you do with the chips. And in some cases, those cedar trees, if you will, are put in ponds for fish habitats. Again, that's a water improvement because you're actually utilizing a tree to be able to produce fish or whatever it may be in a clean environment. So Georgia Power Company is very proud to have the opportunity to be part of that, and we want to continue to do that, to be a citizen wherever we serve. Now, I use that term because that's a term that our President Arkwright, one of the early founders of our company, who was involved with the big bets, he basically sloganed that phrase, if you will. And it's important to our company, just as it's important to you, to be a good citizen. We want to give back to the environment. We want to give back to the society that's around us. And Lord of mercy, if we don't do that, we're going to go backwards. We really are going to go backwards. I want to say something about Dublin itself. We are very, very, very blessed to have the leadership in Dublin that we have. We do, because we have people that care about other people. We have people that want to see visitors come to our community. We're an international community. But we want to educate other people about things that they can do to make our community even better. Now, I want to go back and talk about my two sons, and I want to talk to them, tell you about them growing up. I was introduced to recycling by my children. You know what I did one day in front of them? I threw a piece of trash out of my window of my car.
Goodness, I can't believe you would do that.
I did. Guess what I did next after my sons chastised me? I turned around. I turned around and stopped and picked that piece of paper up. And from then on, in our house, we made ourselves these recycling boxes, and we had to put everything in its place. And my children really drove it home to me. When you educate, when you try to put a program together like you're doing, one of the greatest places to go is to the children, because they get it. They understand why it's so very important to recycle and to take something and reuse it as much as you possibly can. Today, I have the blue trash can. How many of y'all got blue trash cans at your house? I've got it. And every other Friday, just about, I roll it out to the road, make sure I beat the trash man or the collector there. But it has ingrained in me the importance to recycle. Number one, it takes a lot of energy to make things, and recycling it doesn't take as much energy. And you people get it. You understand it. You understand why it's important to do the recycling. And I'm very thankful to this community for creating a program and making sure that we have a way to recycle. It's a good thing. So thank you to Joe and the leadership of the county and the city for what you're doing, because it's important. It's important to us. Other big bets that we have are big bets into the future. And some of them we don't know what they are yet. We don't know what might come with various things. But you know what? You're positioned. You're ready with your programs that your organization puts together to combat most anything that we may face. So
Plan for it up on the board right
that's
now.
right.
That's
There
how
you
we
go.
do it.
That's
on
right.
time.
And when you read it, and I was reading over the actual steps of the program, the first one says get the facts. We really do need to understand the facts and to continually educate. As it says, involve people and getting people connected into the programs so that they can begin to learn and understand. It's important to do that. Now, I'll tell you something about education that I think most of you know, but I have to tell you it sometimes gets frustrating. To educate people, it takes it over and over and over, doesn't it? I know sometimes you just have to say it, and then finally they get it, and then you have to go tell their kid. So you start over. It's a never-ending cycle. What you do, you have to continue to do over and over to make sure that people fully understand it. And to recognize people. Recognizing people for their accomplishments and what they do is one of the most important things we as human beings can do. When people do things, they really want to be thanked for it in most cases. Appreciate it. And that's why we're here tonight. We're here tonight to recognize people and thank people for what they have done. And for those of you who will be recognized, I want to say thank you for what you've done and what you will be doing into the future. Again, if you think about the big bet that you made was that you were going to keep this community clean. And you've done it, and you're doing it. I know we still have some obstacles and things to work on.
We do.
But you're doing it. You're keeping trash out of the river. You're keeping trash out of the ways that are not very kind, if you will. So I very much appreciate that. And I very much appreciate the opportunity to live in this community with you. And I want to say thank you. And y'all have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you, Jay.
Dublin Rising is one of Georgia's newest recipients of the Community Home Investment Program for 2016-17, a grant that awarded $160,140 for building and/or rehabilitating houses for low and moderate income families. We say thank you to all those who helped us achieve this very significant grant for our community. Dublin Rising mission statement is to mentor low-income residents living in Lawrence County to improve their social and economic conditions while creating broad neighborhood partnerships. This mission is accomplished by encouraging homeowners via building or rehabilitating decent, affordable housing. We actively work with the City of Dublin and Dublin Housing Authority. Dublin Rising, resident, implemented, spiritually inspired neighborhood groups. A proud sponsor of At Home in Dublin. First Lawrence Bank invites you to experience banking at its best. Whether you have personal or business financial needs, we're a full-service bank, big enough to handle all your banking needs and small enough to provide you with that personal touch you've grown to expect from a community bank like First Lawrence Bank. Looking forward to your future. That's First Lawrence Bank in Dublin and Dexter.
And now we do want to recognize the efforts of the people in the community that do the work that Jay was referring to. And we do have 3 areas of work. We work in litter prevention, beautification, and recycling. So we have awards in all those categories. And our major, it would not be possible if we didn't have city fathers and people, elected officials, that believed in the purpose and had the same goal and mindset. And our founders, funders, and supporters are the City of Dublin. I think Joe Connor would accept for them. We'd like to recognize their forethought in funding our program year to year. They're our major funder, and then we have the Lawrence County Commission that are also funders in our community, and they fund education in the schools and pay so much per child to make sure all the school children are educated. We have an education committee, and Lily Hobbs is here. Did she have to leave? Lily goes into the schools and does the school program. And the third supporter is the Chamber of Commerce. Is anybody here from the Chamber? I think Malia was planning to be here, and Mr. Taylor had to go out of town, so we'll just get him. They give us support. Well, I nag them to death all the time of Malia on the telephone. Katie knows, she used to work there. Anything I needed to know, I'd call and ask the chamber, or if needed support, they'd make sure we got what we needed. So those 3 are the major supporters, but the community is really our supporters, but we are thankful for those to make it possible. In the first category is litter prevention, and our signature event for Keep America Beautiful is the Great American Cleanup. It's due March, April, and May, any cleanup activities to clean up neighborhoods. We are trying to target mainly neighborhoods, but it's for schools or rivers and anything anybody wants to clean up during those months. We tally it with the Great American Cleanup. But Brenda Paldo couldn't be here tonight. She's from the City of Dublin, but I'll let Major Dominic take her. The City of Dublin Police Department is taking a new program, and I'd like you to say a little bit about Take It Back. Major Greg Dominic, because I've got to get more familiar with it. I've read it and follow it, but I want to get more involved in what that involves.
Basically what Take It Back is an initiative that the chief started when he came on board about 1.5 years ago. Basically what it is, it involves the neighbors who for all these years would call and complain about what was going on in their neighborhood, but they would not step up and attempt to help clear the problem. So this was an initiative that they have to basically buy into it also. They're required to clean up their neighborhood, clean up their yards, encourage their neighbors to do the same. They put a sign in their yard letting the people know they are taking back their neighborhood. They have to get involved, call us when they see something, have to be willing to report it to us so that we can follow up, so that we have the backing to do what we have to do when it comes time to go to court. And we started this in the Simmons Street area, and I don't know if any of you have been through that area in a while, but it has cleaned up drastically. A lot of the residents that were kind of grown up, I understand, you know, the older we get, the harder yard work is, but they've gotten their yards cleaned back up. They keep their signs up. They've got their hedges trimmed so that you can see their windows, keep them safe. And it's just basically what this program is just to bring the community into what we're doing so that we can all work together in one collaborative effort to rid of the problem as basically hate to say it, the problem people that come into your neighborhoods, and to clear the areas to bring in more people that want to live in that neighborhood. So that's basically what this program is.
It's a wonderful initiative, and Jolie has a plaque for you to take back to the chief, and we appreciate it because it does start at home. If we try to teach your children at school, it starts in your room when you're a child. Pick up your clothes, pick up your toys. You know, your mother doesn't have to do that for you. When you put something down, it's your responsibility. If you have trash in your hand, it becomes yours, and you have to decide how to dispose of it. But the Simmons Street area, they won second place this year in the Great American Cleanup. So they are very active in Rose Street and all that area. It's really come a long way in taking pride and taking the neighborhood back. So we appreciate what y'all doing. Don Bryant was the next for the county. And I really appreciate you because I get people that call and say, I found this giant bag of trash in the middle of the road. What do I do? And I say, call Don Bryant. And he goes and he'll actually go through and check mail or receipts or whatever he can find and take it and make a case out of it and prosecute it and see that they're convicted of illegal dumping, because it's really getting to be rampant. People think they throw it out, nobody notices, but if you're going to throw your trash out in Lawrence County, you better go through it first to clean up and recycle your mail at least. The next is some volunteer groups that do a wonderful job every year for about 9 years. The Lawrence County Sportsman's Club has opened their doors to their clubhouse, to their boat ramps, had their members ride up and down the river picking up trash out of the river, and there's some pictures that'll go by in a little while when it gets to that part, but you would just be amazed at what people throw in the river. I mean, they like a dump. They throw refrigerators and tires, not just beer cans and fishing stuff. It's just, and every year we're so proud when we say we collected 1,000 pounds out of the river, but then you think that's nothing to be proud of because that's every year, you know, it's right back. So we do appreciate the efforts of the Sportsman's Club, and we have something for you to take back and share with your membership and tell them how much we appreciate the hospitality. They cook the hot dogs and serve lunch to the volunteers, and really encourage and help make it possible. Teen Challenge, they couldn't be here tonight, but they are an active and vital part of our community. Anything we do, we need manpower. We call Teen Challenge, especially in our recycling electronic days and things where it involves heavy recycling, heavy lifting, and they have never turned us down for anything we've ever asked them to do, so we want to thank them for their manpower they provide to our program. The next category is beautification, and Dublin Federated Garden Clubs. Mary Jane Spivey's here for them, and we'd like you to take this certificate back. But the garden clubs, over probably 50 years, haven't they, Mary Jane, taking care of certain medians across the city. Each club has at least, there are 4 clubs in the Federation, each one has at least 3 or 4 projects. And they're getting out of hand because I'm one of the members too. We need some young girls in our clubs because we just can't really handle it much anymore. And then the city was stepping in and helping us with prison labor, and you might speak to enforcement about that, how much help you get out of prison labor. Because unless you've got a trained guard, and they used to have trained guards that were better trained, but now what we get, they rotate so much, they kill more than they help grow. They round up, they cut, they slash. So the city has stepped up, and I wanted to give the Public Works, but Joe, you can accept that one too. He's the only one here. They all said they were coming. Georgia Power is one we wanted to recognize next. And Jolie has an award for it. And Brian Smith with our trees. It's for, Brian's on the tree board. And Georgia Power, more than just providing power and shade, they are one of our biggest supporters in providing trees and tree care. And I know with the things in the paper you see about lines being cut and tree limbs butchered and all, but that's not Georgia Power, is it, Jay? That is the DOT who has that buckle on. So, and he would love to put the wires underground, he said, if somebody could just come up with the funds to do it, because it's just, and then there are all kind of issues with AT&T and nitrogen, and it's just not as easy as you think to stick the wires underground, but you're wonderful at pruning trees and supporting the tree board and helping the city in more ways than just providing power. So we appreciate what you do. YKK also wanted to be, they're in Macon right now undergoing an audit, so they're all busy. So, but they are really this year, they've given away, well, major trees, like the trees at City Hall and the trees at Lake Leisure. And anybody in the community that needs a tree, YKK would like for you to, they're happy to do it. They want to be known as a corporate person that gives back, and they love beautiful communities, and they want to be part of the people that provide the solution to problems we have. So we're lucky they're here.
My name is Phil Patel. I'm here with the Hampton Inn and Suites here in Dublin, Georgia. I would like to talk about the new Hampton that we've opened up here. It's one of the latest Hampton prototypes by Hilton, and we are proud that it's here in Dublin, Georgia, to serve the community and the business community here also. Just to talk about the Hampton here, we have 70 rooms here, interior corridor, and we are one of the 100% non-smoking hotels here. We offer a free Wi-Fi to all our guests here. Also, we have the latest technology of locks. That means that if you're a Hilton Honors guest, you get an app, and your phone will be what will allow you to enter the room, as well as a key. And that is a new feature to the Hampton properties, that guests will be allowed to use their cell phones to enter the rooms and the surrounding areas into the property. Also, we have here also a free hot breakfast that we offer to all our guests, which is all complimentary, and that is available from 6 till 10 o'clock. We also have a fitness center, which is available to guests 24 hours. And also we have an outdoor pool here, which is seasonal pool, which is again available to the guests till 10 o'clock in the evening. We appreciate the guests that come from out of town and the businesses that recommend the hotel to either business clients and for families at times when they have to use the hotel. And we are here to serve the community. We appreciate the support in the hotel industry since 1998. That's when I first moved to Dublin, Georgia. And Dublin is home, and we appreciate everybody. And we also have the newest Hampton prototype here, the newest outside looking stonework, and also all the parapet lighting that is here at the hotel, which will shine at night and will offset any other businesses that are locally by. And it is a very nice feature that they've added with the ground lights, and that the building really looks beautiful from the outside.
With summertime weather here, it's time to head over to Hometown Supply for a complete line of air conditioners. You'll find everything from a 5,000 to a 29,000 BTU, and financing is available. Hometown Supply carries Frigidaire and GE appliances. Need a washer, dryer, or refrigerator? Hometown Supply carries all major appliances. And chest freezers from 5 to 12 cubic feet. Hometown Supply also carries Yoder storage buildings. No credit check, no security deposit. Rent to own for as low as $69.75 per month. And get a full 10-year warranty. Come on down to Hometown Supply, located across from the skyscraper in Dublin. Hometown Supply, making life a little easier.
Recycling is our third area. And we were talking about big bets, and Ralph and I were talking about, they took on a big bet with Lawrence County Solid Waste Management Authority, because the single stream program was in flux when West Rock was going through their changes, and it looked like we might not even have single stream for a while. If you're not my age or older, you won't remember the green boxes, but if you remember those dumpsters, you'll know that the collection centers, you might not like how they are, but if you can remember what they look like, talking about people going through the trash to get things out, that's what happened at the dumpsters. Most of it ended up on the ground around, and it was embarrassing. They were on major highways coming into our town. So Tennessee Valley Authority came here and lay that out for the commissioners. Keep America Beautiful worked with him, and that system has worked really well, and they took their advice, and we are happy that the commissioners are always looking for ways to improve too. The next group of people we wanted to thank were the communications, TV 35. They're always everywhere we go, and education, as we said, is the way to get people to change. They have to hear it over and over and over. So you helping to get the word out and being there and exposing volunteers and recognizing people goes a long way. We do beautification yard of the season. Board of the Realtors does that, and TV 35 is gracious enough to film that and show off backyards and encourage people to keep their yards clean and beautiful. Curry Herald is another big help with us. Everything that we do, they usually do a front page color photo, and we appreciate what you do. They write the stories, they attend our events, and that is education, because the more people hear it and read it and know what's going on, the bigger and better participation will get, and the word gets out, and we appreciate what you do for us. If you would accept for Curry Herald, especially like the article on the Oaks. I mean, that seemed negative, but it did get people talking about it, and it was a problem. We ride by and everybody say, oh, that's such a shame, we need to do something, we need to do. But now people are talking about it, and the tree board's working on replacing trees where those trees were down, and when they're in the end stage, go ahead and plant a young tree. Because on some of the certificates, I quoted the Chinese proverb. It said the time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the time to plant a tree is now. So you need to think about where you're putting that tree so it won't have to be hacked up in the future when you're planting trees. And we want to plant trees that live for 100 years, not the dogwoods and all are pretty, but they aren't around for the future. People that plant trees for the future are thinking about generations in front of them, because they will never live to see the big beautiful tree, but their grandchildren will. And people did that for us, so we need to do that for them also. And we do need to thank the tree board members. I know Brian's here, and Troy, and anybody, Mary Jane. So there are a lot of active people that are concerned about the trees in our community, so that is a problem that's being looked into. Steve Brown's not here because he's always busy. He's got a tournament tonight. But our funding's up this year because our golf tournament is way up, because Steve is really a go-getter. He almost doubled our teams this year, so which almost doubled our profit. So we wanted to recognize Steve and what they're doing at the golf course. Volunteer of the Year for our youth is Aaliyah Nelson. This is the daughter of Don and Becky Nelson. And you can usually see her where our retiring Youth of the Year, Jolie, used to be in that can suit all the time. Now it's going to be Aaliyah, because Jolie's going off to school. So we wanted to recognize Jolie. Jolie's really been a can man and volunteer for 10 years. Some of the pictures that roll by. She was just about 8 years old. She did a litter survey with Brenda Lausch at Chick-fil-A and asking people about their opinions, and she's just been a really big supporter. Even she's my granddaughter, so I can be proud of her. But Aaliyah stepped right in her place. She's got big shoes to fill, and we appreciate what you do, Aaliyah. And we hope, I know she wants to go into the schools and get youth clubs started in the high school and get them talking and doing projects. So we look forward to working with. This is the Wayfarers Shriners. Speaking of people that do things for others with no thought to themselves, the Shriners have been collecting aluminum cans for 20 years. And those little red cages you see around town, Board Members of the Year. How about it? They wouldn't let me forget that. I had. It's not on my list. I rewrote my list, I'm sorry. Our Board Members of the Year this year are Cecil and Donna Paulo. They have not missed an event we've had yet, and then when they are there, they just go above and beyond. At our golf tournament, they did all the food. I mean, just paid for it, did it, prepared it, and served it. They're wonderful people, and they're rabid recyclers. If you want to get chastised, you just throw something in the wrong can with them, and litter. Their road has a litter problem, and then if the law enforcement wouldn't get them, I think they'd put spikes across the road. I mean, they really are litter haters. but if y'all would like to say anything, and they're modest at that. So we do appreciate all of our board members, but this year Cecil and Donna have just gone above and beyond, and we want to tell them thank you. And that's it. So I appreciate you coming now. And next year I'll bring my notes with me and we'll do better.